Okay, what just happened can't keep happening. And if you have a dog at home that is stealing food, jumping up on counters, begging at the table, this video is going to be for you because we're going to talk about everything that just went wrong a few moments ago, what we should do to prevent it, and how we're going to get back on track. I think jumping up is in this dog's nature. She's going to be the perfect demo dog. I'm Kayl. This is Koda. Welcome back to McCann Dogs. Let's talk about all the things that went wrong in that last video. Now, we had a puppy who was completely unsupervised. She didn't have a house line on, and we had food just sort of left in the open. That is basically a recipe for disaster, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we can do differently in order to get control of that puppy. Speaking of puppy, because I don't have this trusty line on her, she's just wandered off into the house. Hold that thought. Koda! Koda girl! Hi, hello there. Okay, before we go on, I'm going to put this house line on. Now, this house line is crucial for making sure that I can keep good supervision of my puppy. It also needs to be there to ensure that if she goes to, get her out of my bait bag, if she goes to jump up on the counter or coffee table or whatever it is and there's food there, I have a way of stopping her. Now, it's impossible to fix any type of stealing food or jumping up if you don't have good supervision. So you need to make sure that you create a surrounding that allows you to have good supervision. You'll notice behind me we have a baby gate up. That's to make sure that she can't go into the other parts of the house without me noticing. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about this house line. Now, here's the thing. What people don't realize is that we want to try and correct the thought process of jumping up. We don't actually want to wait until the puppy's full-blown jumping up and scarfing down the thing. Because for a lot of dogs, even though they jump up and they get the thing in the mouth and we manage to get it out of their mouth and we manage to get them onto the floor, a lot of people say, well, I'm doing that. I'm correcting the puppy. I stop them from jumping up. I get them off each and every time. But there's a little tiny piece in there that people are missing, and that is the timing. If your dog is able to successfully jump up and even get the tiniest little morsel of food from whatever is on your plate, that in itself is a bit of a reward. And for some dogs who are really food motivated, even though we've gotten them off and maybe we've given them a little bit of heck for that, it's basically, they're like, I still got it in the end. So my goal is that I actually stop her from even getting her paws up in the first place. Now, there's a couple different things that I can do. I like to have a house line on because I can use a little bit of pressure on the line the second she goes to jump up. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. Okay, Missy Moo. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to show her that I have this thing. Leave it. Leave it. Aha! Hello, good girl. That was good. Did I surprise you? I had to act fast there. So I said leave it. I followed that with a couple little pops on the line. Okay. Okay. Am I going to fix you in just one go? Okay. Yes! Oh my goodness! Are you the smartest little cattle dog baby? Okay, why am I so excited about that? I approached the item with her, and instead of going, she went, this is a bit suspicious. You got me in trouble last time. I'm going to check in with you. And I took an opportunity to reward our dogs. Now, remember, when we're using the McCann method, we do want to help the dog to understand when they're wrong, but you really need to let the dog know when they're right as well. I'm not just going to go up and correct her over and over and over again. I'm trying to highlight when she makes a good choice because I need her to learn to do this independently. I need her to be able to look at that thing and walk away all on her own despite later on in life having a line or a leash on or me having treats. I actually want to break down the little correction that I did with Koda with you because you're probably looking at it and think, well, that looked way too easy. It's never going to work on my dog. And it did look easy because I have been doing this for 20 plus years and I don't even think about it. It just sort of happens. And honestly, it can be easy for you as well if you do learn the proper technique. Now I'm going to break this down with you a little bit, but we're going to kind of go in slow motion. So number one, if Koda is, actually, you know what? I'm just going to let her chew on the bone. So I'm not actually going to correct her here because I just want to show you the technique. A couple things to think about is that as she approached the area that she was investigating in, I first used a verbal. And again, that's really important because if you don't say something before you do something actionable, the say something part won't work in the end. And that's really what we're getting to. Remember I said I want the goal for me to be to say, hey, leave it, and my words should have merit, they should have power. The way that I get that is I say the word that I want to use, and then I apply the correction. Now the correction that I used was simply a little pop on the dog's collar. And what does that mean exactly? I slid my hand down the leash, I did this very quickly, and I gave a little pop and release on the collar. Just like a tap on the shoulder. It shouldn't hurt the dog, it shouldn't flip the dog over, it shouldn't frighten the dog, but it should startle the dog. It should have the dog react to go, whoop, what was that? And what we're trying to do is interrupt the thought process so the dog says, holy cow, I thought I could just do this and now all of a sudden you're stopping me. There should be a little bit of an element of surprise. Now, I'm going to tell you what we're not going to do, because this is what a lot of people do wrong and this is why it doesn't work. What a lot of people do is they take the leash and they simply pull the dog away from the item. I actually don't want to physically pull her away. I want to actually just use a pop. I want to get her attention. And if you'll watch the replay, you'll notice that once she turned, I actually moved away from the distraction and she simply followed me on a completely loose leash. And that's my goal here. I'm simply trying to interrupt the thought process and then redirect towards. So again, sliding my hand down, a little pop and release, not a constant pull, okay? A pop and release. And then once I get the dog's attention, I can back up. And she's a puppy. She probably hasn't had that happen very much. And I've done this a lot. So my technique's quick and sharp and fast. So she reacted really quickly. If you find you do this with your dog and you try it and you don't get a reaction, just consider your technique. Are you doing it firmly enough? Maybe you have to do it a couple times. Are you too close to the distraction? The closer you are, the harder it is to tear them away. Perhaps you need to work on this a little further from the distraction. I was actually able to get right up with Koda. For a lot of you, you might have to work 10, 15 feet away from that distraction. If they're really, really well-versed in jumping up on counters and whatnot, you might need to build some distance. So distance and duration are going to be your friend, but technique really is everything, because this should happen very quickly and effectively. So we've talked a little bit about the timing of the correction when we tell our dog is wrong, but we also need to make sure we have good technique and timing once our dog is on the right track again. And there's certain steps to this as well with anything in dog training. So when Koda decided to react to my little pop there and she turned and looked, the very first thing that I did is mark that with the word yes to let her know she's right. And then I proceeded that immediately with a lot of genuine, exuberant praise. What I'm trying to do is make sure that my praise and my excitement, A, makes it less likely for her to turn back to the distraction, and B, needs to shake away or wash away the stress of getting that little pop. I kind of want her to think the boogeyman gave her a little pop and it wasn't really me. When she turns around, she should see my smiling face, and then from there I can back away with praise. And then you'll notice that after a few moments, because I still had really good engagement from her, I then used the treats to reward her. But that was sort of the last step. What I don't want to do is she's got her head in some food or jumping on something. I don't want to walk in, use food to move her away, because she's going to think that jumping up is going to earn the food. So we have to work on the proper steps of correction and reward. Step number 1, use your verbal. Step number 2, use your correction. Step number 3, you're going to yes when they get some attention. Step number 4, you're going to praise your dog so that they commit to coming to you and they think good things happen. And then step number 5, is that the one I'm on? The step number 5 is going to be when you can actually food reward your dog if you want to. And if you don't have any food, just play with them. Give them some pets, give them some love. You don't always have to use food as your reward. Okay, miss, some time has gone past. Should we give her a little test to see if she's remembered her rules here? Leave it. Good girl. I was very bold there. I absolutely should have said leave it a little bit earlier, but honestly, I was kind of curious, but she was amazing. Good girl. Come here. Wow. Good girl. Oh, you brilliant baby. Yay. She's fixed. She's cured. Counter surfing is definitely something that you don't want, but having a puppy respond really well to the word leave it is something that you do want. And that's actually one of the many exercises that we work on in our Puppy Essentials and our Life Skills programs, depending on your puppy's age. If you want to learn about how to join us online or in person here in Flamborough, Ontario, click the link in the description below. Coming from my experience as a dog trainer for over the last 20 years, I have seen and heard pretty much every horror story you could possibly think of in terms of what dogs try to get into at the house in terms of chewing or stealing things. So I really don't want you to underestimate the types of things that your dog might try and steal and swallow. You know, I've heard everything from, you know, bars of soap to razor blades on the side of the bathtub to swallowing an entire pork skewer that a dog had stolen off of the barbecue. Of course, you have to worry about chicken bones and all of these other things that your dog can, you know, potentially steal and hurt themselves. And there's a lot of food items that, you know, just suck if they eat them and you don't have them anymore. But there's some things that are actually truly very dangerous to your puppy. And it is very important that you're taking that supervision part very, very seriously, because the last thing you want is for something to happen to your dog. So be aware of some of the items out there that could potentially be a danger to your dog. Believe it or not, peanut butter is one of them. Now, this particular peanut butter that we're using today, it doesn't have any xylitol in it, and so it is safe for dogs. So just make sure that if you are using peanut butter in their Kongs or as like a special treat, that you do check that there's no xylitol in it. That's really important. There's actually about 9 other toxins that a lot of people don't realize are an issue, and we have a downloadable list for that in the link below, so make sure you take advantage of that. If your puppy's jumping up on counters and all of the other things, they're probably jumping up on people as well. So if you want to stop that unwanted behavior, check out that video right there. On that note, I'm Kayl. This is Koda. Happy training.